And good evening. My name is Jeff Fuller, and Jay Fuller Interviews is where you can find me, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. There's a YouTube channel as well and a Facebook group we'd love to have you be a part of. Jay Fuller Interviews, Instagram, Twitter. We have the Orlando Magic General Manager Pat Williams coming up. We have Coach Tommy Brennan joining on Wednesday morning, and one that knows Coach Brennan well is my next guest, Germain Mopa Njila. Germain, great to have you on.
Hey, thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Hey, so of course, I met you just at a distance when you played for the University of Vermont. Here's a team picture. It's kind of blurry in the back, but of that 04-05 team. Can you
Wow.
talk about what led you to the University of Vermont?
That's a good question. So when I moved here in 1999, I played basketball, AAU. It was down in Connecticut. AAU tournaments, got recruited by one of the assistant coaches, and he left before I got there. Then he recruited me. I didn't know anything about Vermont. I mean, I didn't know anything about much of the places in the U.S. at the time. But he was persistent, and then one day I decided, hey, you know what? Let me take a visit. Actually, I was kind of bored that weekend, so I said, let me go check it out. So came up, visited the school, and it just felt right. It just felt right. Went back, told my high school coach at the time, I think that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going, and that's how I picked Vermont.
And your high school coach at the time, was that at Brewster?
No, that was in Connecticut.
Okay.
The master school was a small Christian school I went to. Yeah.
And talk to us a little bit. You have an accent. Those that
Yeah.
know you understand you're from Cameroon. What type of an adjustment has that been to get used to the United States culture and especially the Vermont weather?
It's still going. It's still in learning. But yes, I grew up in Cameroon, a French-speaking country. So my accent has that little French into it. Um, when I first moved here, didn't know lick of English. Just got to learn my way, smile a lot, and hope that people didn't ask me a lot of questions. So that's how I was able to, to go.
And now you find yourself in Georgia, which is certainly warmer than Vermont. Have you enjoyed the change in scenery?
It's been good. I mean, something different. My wife and I, when we decided to relocate, we wanted to try something different. We love Vermont. Vermont is my second home. My wife, Jamie, she's from Vermont. So for us, it was something different and, get away from the cold weather of Vermont as well. So for that, yes, it's been good, right? The move. But we always go back to Vermont whenever we get a chance. Every 4th of July, we go up to Vermont for a week, and hopefully this time, we'll make it back with these crazy times. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to do a little bit of a close up. And here's a picture of you dunking against Syracuse. And everybody thinks
Yes.
about that Syracuse victory when they look at your career, but you guys had a great career at UVM. Can you just talk a little bit about being a freshman to being a senior and what that process looked like for you specifically as a basketball player?
Oh, that's a long story. It's an interesting one. Freshman year, so when I got to the University of Vermont, and I had my goals, I had my dreams, and I had a vision. So when I picked Vermont at the time, I believe I'll go there, I'll be probably the best player on the team. Most people probably don't know that, but that was my goal. And I picked Vermont. One of the reasons I picked Vermont was because I knew they've never won, right? I mean, when they say never won, they've never been to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
So I felt, hey, I'll go there. I have a chance to play my freshman year and be the man and bring that team to the NCAA tournament. So when I got there, my freshman year was really, really hard for me. The team started winning and I wasn't playing. And that's just a tough spot to be because now you don't want to be selfish. You want to play, but we are successful. So I just struggled to find my way, to accept that while the team is doing well, and still be part of the team. And that's a conversation that I owe to, that's something I owe to Coach Brennan, because he was able to really embrace everybody and make all the players feel that, you're really part of the team. So my freshman year struggled, but we were able to have a lot of success. We didn't end up the year the way we wanted to. We lost to Maine. So we took that learning into my sophomore year, and then my junior year became a little easier because I was able to find peace, to find the way I wanted to influence, the way I wanted to play within the team. And that's what you saw my junior year and my senior year. And we're
Now,
able to. And what's fun is that it ended up the way I picture it, right? Being to the NCAA tournament, having the success that we had, but it didn't end up the way I saw that. I wasn't the high scoring guy on the team. I wasn't the main guy, but all of my goals and my dreams and the way I wanted it to happen happened that way.
however, you say that, but you had a huge game against Syracuse, and I know everybody was talking about Taylor Coppenrath, TJ Sorrentine. I want to talk about those guys in a little bit, but did you feel it? Some players say like, "Oh, I felt it before the game. I was going to have a good game." Did you feel it before the game that it was going to be your time? What did it take? Your first shot falling? Talk us through that incredible game that you had personally, but that big victory over Syracuse.
It's so funny. People always ask me that, were you hot? I mean, we talk about TG and Taylor, rightly so, because those two guys are just incredible. What they were able to do for the school is just unbelievable. Talking about that game, I never looked at it that way. I never saw it as, even when I watch it, I never saw it as I was hot.
Hmm.
I never took a shot where I felt like, let me hit check myself. Like, oh, I'm so hot, I cannot miss. Let me take shots. Everything that I did, every shot, at least 7 of the 9 shots that I made, that I took, for me was timely. It was what we needed at the
Yeah.
time. Every shot that I took was, we needed those shots, right? And that speaks to the way I saw myself on the team. For me, it was about doing what you need to do for us to win. And remember about our goals and our dreams. It was so close, and I had to do whatever I needed to do for us to be able to be successful. And so I never felt. I mean, 9 for 10 is crazy, right? But I wasn't taking shots that I felt like I couldn't make. We just needed those shots.
Taylor mentioned to me in an interview and a dinner that I had with him, he said everybody in the gym on the team knew you could score. And you're right. It wasn't taking shots away from other people. It was just making those shots, which was a lot of fun to watch, at least for a kid growing up in Vermont, loving the Catamounts. TJ Sorrentine said that he was probably a difficult teammate because he was so driven and he felt like he had to push everybody. What was TJ Sorrentine like for you as a teammate?
Uh, you said that, but it was great because I never really um I'll say I was my own person, right? Like I said, when I joined the team, I always felt like I was competing against myself, right? And for me, TJ stood out the most to me because he was really, really competitive. Practice, workouts, he was always trying to, to be the best and trying hard. So, and I had a lot of respect for him, and that's why it was easier for me at some point throughout my career to really defer to those guys, right? Because they've shown that they wanted it. He worked hard. He was a hardworking guy, very competitive. So for me to take a back seat and accept that, hey, these guys are the scorer on the team, it was easier because of the work ethic and what they had to provide.
And so I'm going to flip back to this picture. And if you can see Coach Brennan in the background, he's certainly
Right.
cheering for you. You said an assistant from UVM recruited you. What are your first thoughts of when you met Coach Tom Brennan?
When I first met him, I just felt joy, in him, and Coach Brennan always laughing and joking and took me out to Andy for a sandwich and just felt at home. He was just relaxed for a coach. And the one thing that I remember during the recording process, he was down to earth. He
Hmm.
wasn't selling me anything crazy. They didn't put me in a hotel, which I appreciated because sometimes when you get recruited, you get a lot of pamper. For me, it
Yeah.
was like a real view into what the school was, what the team was, who the coach was, and from the recruiting process to today, he's the same guy.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have said that Coach Brennan is definitely the best. He cares for his players, and I actually have the opportunity to interview him on Wednesday that I'm looking forward to.
Uh,
What's a story about Coach Brennan that maybe you shouldn't share, but when you think about it, it makes you laugh?
oh man, I'm not good at stories, but you know, the one thing, one cool story. We play DC area. We had two games. He always took us to Wood Chris. That's a
Yeah.
great steak restaurant. Um, so we had two games. So we won one game. Took us to Wood Chris, and he told us, "Hey guys, I have to call Miss Lynn. We cannot split and we cannot win one and lose one. We spent a lot of money on this. I think that was just great. That was just great. So that was a great motivation for us to go out and get another win for them.
And you wore the number 32. I'm always intrigued by numbers. Why did you pick number 32?
Quite honestly, I don't remember. I think number 13 was my number, and I don't know why I didn't have number 13. And 32 was the next best number. To be honest with you, I don't remember. 13 has always been my number.
Now, Germain, when you look at the position that you played, you're one of those players that could have played multiple positions, did play multiple positions. When you look at basketball now, do you think it's good that there's more positionless basketball?
I do. I do. And like you said, you couldn't really tell me what position I was, because for me, I felt like I'm a basketball player, and when I play and I really want to win, I feel like I can do what's needed to be done. You can watch me play. You hear me say you can't shoot the ball or you can dribble, but I believe I could do all of these things. So today, the game being positionless, that's just great because that inspires kids to play basketball, having fun, dribble the ball, shooting the ball, posting, rebounding, running the fast break, passing, and not just focus on one aspect of the game. So it's great.
Now, this is probably an ignorant question, but when I think of Cameroon, I think of different sports other than basketball. When you were growing up, when did you choose basketball as a sport you wanted to focus on?
That's not ignorant, right? Because that's right.
Hmm.
Growing up, basketball was not a big time sport. Soccer was, right? I learned how to play basketball, believe it or not, on the dirt floor. I mean, on the dirt,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly, on the dirt, because we didn't have infrastructure. We had soccer, we had a makeshift basket, and that's how I started playing basketball. But I got drawn to basketball for the dribbling.
Hmm.
So I always had my basketball dribbling around. I wasn't playing, I was just dribbling around. Then we had some tournaments back home. We had a league, nothing like United States. So I just loved it. I had some buddies of mine. We started playing, and that's how I fell in love with basketball.
And now, with anything that happens in life, there's certainly ups and downs and struggles, fears. I imagine as a basketball player, early on, not getting the minutes, you just felt like it was a hardship, so to speak. What motivates you to get through those times, or what do you put your faith in that really helps you get through those difficult struggles, like the pandemic that we're currently in?
Yeah, and during those tough times, the one thing is hard work. For whatever reason, I believe working hard was the answer for me. So every time I struggle, the one thing I always told myself is get to practice and just keep working hard. I'll credit a lot Tom Brennan, the coach Brennan, because I remember this day in practice my freshman year. I believe this after a game I didn't play, and I just felt like I didn't have it. I really felt like I didn't have it. I remember coming to practice, sitting, and just wondering, like, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to get to this? You know, coming to Vermont, feeling like I'll be starting, I was going to be playing well, and to not play, that was hard. And I cannot forget, I'll never forget that. Coach Brennan bring everyone in before practice and talking to us and just telling us, the freshmen, really like, hey guys, Germain, Dave, you guys play so hard. If you guys don't practice the way you guys practice, we are not winning. We are winning because everyone is involved. Germain, you run harder than anyone in practice.
Hmm.
Dave, you run harder than anyone. You guys kept it going. And I remember that day, that's what got me going that day. That's what got me the energy to say, you know what? That's right. I cannot let these guys out. I cannot let the team down. I have to keep practicing. I have to keep going hard. And and I just kept practicing hard. And the following year, we had something happen. TJ got injured, right, and he broke his wrist, he redshirted. Andrew Anderson got injured, and here we go. I just end up being in the starting lineup my sophomore year, right? And that just shows you, whatever happened in life, just keep working hard, just keep going at it, because I never gave up. And once my number was called, and I was ready for it. But if I gave up, I wouldn't be ready for it. So I'll credit hard work, and I'll credit having a coach like Tom Brennan, knowing what to say, the right thing, and how to motivate players.
Germain, who are a couple players when you were at UVM that were older that really took you under their wing? And then as you got older, who are a player or two that you took under your wing?
So when I got to the school, it's hard to pinpoint one player, but I feel that, I can name Andrew Anderson. Andrew was really great to me. The summer of my freshman year, we ain't got a lot. Took me under his wing. Um, bless his soul. Trevor Gaines was great. Those,
Hmm.
Corey, Grant Anderson. These guys were just so down the earth, hanging out with us all the time. So it wasn't freshmen to seniors, right? Those guys really, really, took us under the wings. So Andrew Anderson was really great to me. Other players that I had to mentor. I've always tried to lead by examples, working hard. Guys who came to the school, I know Henry got into some troubles, but over the summer before he got to the school, with him all the time. So all the young guys have always just tried to be, to do the lead by example.
Now, when you look back at your time at UVM and you look at when you were first wanting to go to play at UVM, are you surprised at all the accolades and stories and all the love that you get for being a Vermont Catamount, especially during that time period with Coach Tom Brennan?
It's surprising, right? Because I remember when I got to the school, and I told few students, hey, I'm playing for the basketball, or some people ask me, what are we in? Are we D2? Are we G3 schools? Right? Gym was barely packed, right? So from that to where we were in my senior year, and we are talking about this 15 years later, right? And after graduation, I spent 11 years in Vermont, and it was just amazing how much love we got, how much love I got, how many people came to me and talked to me about the experience. I couldn't believe it. When we graduated, I was like, okay, this is said and done. Over. We play well, over. But just what happened afterward was it's unbelievable.
Now, talk a little bit about how you have matured. So, just say you're talking to your freshman self. What advice would you tell yourself as a freshman going into the University of Vermont?
Oh man, what would I say to my freshman self? The one thing I'll say would have been, just relax, just play hard. And because you believe that you are good, right? You feel you have the skills and you're good to start, or, right, this is not a given, right? This is not a given. Everything is earned. And I think that's what's happened with a lot of freshmen or a lot of young people getting into these situations. That you've been good in high school, you get to college, you play with a lot of better players, different systems, and you expect it to be that way. Sometimes just keep playing hard and go from the bottom and try to earn 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. That's what I'll say to myself.
I think that's great advice. Germain, who is the most difficult player that you had to face when you were playing for UVM?
Oh man, who's the most difficult players in our league? I That's a tough question. I'll probably say teams, but not
Hmm.
players.
So, who was the most difficult team? What team do you remember giving you guys trouble?
I think we've always had some good games against BU, um, but it was never a blowout game. I just feel like that was a team that was they were just so disciplined, running to their plays. If you make a mistake, you'll pay. I'm just talking within our league. Um, yeah, that's a team that I respected a lot.
And now, what's a
I don't want
team?
to talk about the North Carolina. I don't want to talk about
Sure.
those big other schools, but within our leagues, yeah.
Now, what's a team? You don't have to use players' names, but that you always knew that you were going to have a good game, and you felt UVM was always going to win whenever you played against them.
Uh, that's another lesson that I learned, and I think we owe our success to that. It's because I never look at a team, and I can attest that to our players, is that we never look at teams and saying that, oh,
Hmm.
we know we're gonna beat them, right? And we felt that we play well, we can beat any team, but I cannot really point one team and tell you that, hey, we know we can beat them. And then I'll say that my freshman year when we lost to Maine, I think that's kind of the feeling. We were just happy knowing that we are the best team in the league. And I think that sometimes you feel that, hey, we're going to make the NC tournament. Hey, we're going to beat Maine because we beat them. And then we learned the hard way that, hey, when you get to a game, you have to go get it.
Now, Jermaine, you are married and you are a father now. Could you just talk about what's that like? And do you wish you had more basketball practices and less diapers to be changing?
That's right. That's right. It's been it's been great. It's been great. Being married and having two kids. Um, it's been a learning experience. That's another life experience. Learning how to live with another person. Learn how to put your ego on the side. Learn how to care about other people other than yourself. And the challenge coming with kids and raising kids, raising two independent minded people, right? As parents, sometimes you want to direct and they have their own minds, right? So it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of learning. It's been a lot of happiness and struggle, and it's been great. My kids, just learning from them and just watching kids grow. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It certainly is. Germain Mopa, make some time. We'll get you out in a couple questions. First one is, if your kids choose to play a different sport, what sport other than basketball do you hope they play?
My kids,
Yeah.
um, golf.
Well, why do you pick golf?
Um, I like golf, so I feel like that would be a good practice. It would be a good reason for me to get out and play with my kids.
That's good.
um,
That's a great answer.
and tennis. I haven't played tennis, but I love watching tennis. I love it. I love that sport. Yeah.
And Jermaine, before you got to UVM, who are the biggest factors, mentors in your life that you just look back when you were 12, 13 years old and you really knew that they cared about you?
I remember this guy back home when I used to play basketball. He really took me under his wings. Older basketball player. We had a playground. We play. It was, if you think about Rocker Park, it was kind of that type of
Hmm.
atmosphere where the best players in the city would play. Would just sit there. And these guys always had my back. The last few minutes of the game, we just sub out and say, "Hey, Germain, come in." And I just remember the other day, someone was mentioning, "Hey," they were talking about me, and they say, "Oh, Germain, Henry's son."
Hmm.
Like he wasn't like a father, but he was just like this older brother to me that always kind of, made sure that I was in the right place.
Now, Jermaine, during this COVID-19 pandemic, what have you grown to enjoying more than you thought you would?
During this pandemic, this the time with the family.
Hmm.
You know, uh, it's funny, the time with the family. It's challenging at the same time, but when I take time to introspect and see how much time we spend together, and that's a blessing. I know sometimes for parents out there, it's a tough time. You got lesson plans, teach your kids. At the same time you're trying to work. But I see it as spending a lot of time with our kids, spending time with our spouse. I know a lot of people we say the divorce rate went up, but you just learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn how you work well together. We've been able to do well, yeah, given the circumstances.
And Jermaine, I just had my cousin over. They came over for a campfire before this, and when she found out I was interviewing you, she knows nothing about basketball, but she loves food and to cook. What is your favorite Cameroonian? Did I say that right?
Cameron, oh, he's perfect.
Dish that you like to cook or that you like to go out for?
Oh man, it's a lot. It's not one dish. It's hard to say. It's like in gumbo stew with some dry fish, right?
Okay.
Sounds crazy, but it's just a lot of different things. And my mom is here. It's just the way we bake our fish. It's just so many. I can't list.
Well, Jermaine, I thank you so much for making the time. And just as we close out, final question is simply this. What advice would you give to somebody in high school that has an opportunity to play in college, but like you, they would say, it's only Vermont, it's not a big program, and they decide not to play? How would you encourage them to play, even though if they aren't playing at one of the top Division I schools?
uh, it's about your goals. It's about what you want out of this. And just I'll say, hey, take a piece of paper and ask yourself, what do you want out of this? Talk about. For me, for example, I say I want to go to a good school where I get a good education, but at the same time, I want a school where I can have a good time. With my teammates and people I got at Vermont. I want to go to a school where I can play and I can make a big difference. That's something I wrote down, right? Those are things that I wrote down. It's like, what do you want out of it? Put on a piece of paper, and trust me, things will fall into place.
Hmm. Jermaine, thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thanks again for staying up late. And you guys were a ton of fun to watch. I actually got to play in a all-star game, kind of charity game with you. And thank you just for making the time, just because you mean so much to the Vermont basketball community. And it's just awesome to see you guys and the other guys just making time for the rest of the Vermonters. So thanks so much. Enjoy Georgia and have fun being a dad. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, that's Germain Mopa Njila. Make some time, stand up late right here on Jay Fuller Interviews. We are going to have more interviews. Coach Tommy Brennan coming on Wednesday morning. Pat Williams of the Orlando Magic coming on later. Mike Brown of Hoop Culture coming on tomorrow as well. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.